So it's the end of yet another week, and here on this channel that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you the viewers to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week a lot went down both on and off the court, and while the play on the court tends to be the focus of discussion, it's been tough with how many teams are being hampered by COVID lately. In order to submit your takes though, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, if you enjoy the content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Tag, and he says that the New Orleans Pelicans aren't actually as bad of a team as they seem right now, and if they had a healthy Zion Williamson, they would have been a playoff team. Right now, the Pelicans have the second worst record in the Western Conference, and not a whole lot has gone well for them this year. Their core of talent had so much hype and potential when they came together, and after how impressive Zion Williamson looked last year, the hope was that they would continue to improve together. But so much has gone wrong from then to now, and they're teetering on the brink of disaster. Before the Zion Williamson fiasco even started, it could have easily been predicted that the Pelicans were on track to be underwhelming because their offseason moves just simply weren't very good. They set their sights high on trying to go after big names, but failed to land any of them, so instead they settled for acquiring Jonas Valanciunas and Devontae Graham after allowing Lonzo Ball to walk. Last season, they finished in 11th place in the West, and this year, the roster arguably got worse, so playoffs were always going to be a tall task, especially in the always competitive Western Conference. Now, would they be more competitive with Zion Williamson if he was healthy and in shape? Yes, of course, that much is obvious. But good enough to make the playoffs? That's where we need to pump the brakes. Admittedly, quite a few teams in the West have fallen off a bit, so there are more openings for potential playoff spots, but the Pelicans probably still would have been a play-in team at best, given the right circumstances. The next take we'll be discussing comes to us from Armadillo, and he says that even though Steph Curry's three-point record is going to continue to grow, it's not as unbreakable as people think it is, and that it will likely only stand for about a decade or so. So this week, Steph Curry officially became the three-point king by passing Ray Allen for the most made threes in NBA history. When Ray Allen broke the record, it seemed like an impossible task to pass him, but Steph Curry came in and passed him up in hundreds of fewer games played, making it look easy. With the way that the NBA game has changed, the direction that the league is headed, everyone seems to have accepted the fact that there is more emphasis on the three-point line than ever before, and this will continue to be the case in the future. More players are shooting threes than in prior eras, both for better or worse, and teams make entire game plans around getting three-point shots up now. Because of all of this, I don't think it's crazy to believe that eventually there will be a new three-point king that comes along and surpasses Curry. I just think the idea of a player doing so within the next 10 years is where this take becomes outlandish. For a player to break Curry's record in the next 10 years, it insinuates that said player is either already in the NBA right now or is a rising prospect, and when you look at the potential challengers, there just aren't any that come close to matching Curry's combination of efficiency from deep on his volume of attempts. Trae Young tends to be someone often compared to Curry and thrown into this conversation, but for reference, with how far away Trae is from replicating Curry's production, allow me to point out that Curry is making over 5 threes per game this season, which is something that he's done 4 times in his career, and has been making at least 3 threes per game in a season every single season but one for the last 10 years. Meanwhile, Trae Young has only made over 3 threes per game once so far in his 4-year career, and right now is only making half as many threes per game as Steph is, emphasizing how absurd the production has to be to ever reach Curry's record. The next take we'll be discussing comes to us from Ben, and he says that Jalen Green is a bust and should not have been picked in the top 5. This year's draft class has absolutely brought it so far, which is awesome, because I love when the general narrative around a class is that it's weak only for those players to come out and prove everyone wrong. It's literally one of my favorite things to see. This year, we've got players like Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes dominating, Cade Cunningham looks better and better by the day, Franz Wagner outperforming all expectations, Josh Giddey producing across the board, and so many more living up to their hype. But Jalen Green has been a bit underwhelming so far. He's scoring a decent 14 points per game, but he's struggling to do so efficiently, making just 38% of his shots and 28% of his threes, which for a player drafted as a scorer by nature is definitely a bit concerning. Additionally, the Rockets have performed so much better with him on the bench, becoming a whole 24 points better per 100 possessions when he's not in the game. However, with all of that being said, I still vehemently disagree with this take because he is a 19-year-old rookie who has had quite a few promising flashes of greatness already, and at this stage in a player's career, that's all you can ask for. Writing off teenagers as busts this early is absurd, and when it comes to struggles with consistency and efficiency, those are areas that most rookies struggle with anyway. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today says that Desmond Bane has all-star potential. The Grizzlies have easily been the team outperforming all expectations this year as they comfortably sit in 4th place in the West after being written off as a playoff team before the year started. To begin the season, they were the Ja Morant show, as his emergence as a legitimate star was on full display, but he suffered an injury a few weeks ago that has held him out of games, and yet the team hasn't slowed down one bit, continuing to win and build momentum. The Grizzlies are quite a deep squad, and one of the players stepping up the most in Morant's absence has been Desmond Bane. Bane came into the league viewed as a spot-up shooter, and last year he shot the ball incredibly well as a rookie. Where Bane has improved a ton, though, is his overall ability to create offense for himself, because now he comfortably takes defenders off the dribble, attacks the basket, finishes using floaters with soft touch, and even has a lethal pull-up mid-range jumper in his arsenal as well. Since Morant went down, Bane is averaging a little over 18 points per game, shooting 48% from the field and 49% from 3, and he's proving that he's much more than just a shooter. Now, as much as I love Bane and his game though, I think calling him a future all-star might be pushing it a little bit. He is what teams dream to have in their rotations, but I don't think he'll ever be able to be the best player on a team, which isn't meant as any disrespect, because he should still be getting so much praise for how well he is playing right now. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.